Now, here are your hosts, Hank Davis and Mello Betts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the NFL Fan Podcast. It's Mello's NFL Weekly. I'm your host, former professional athlete, Hank Davis. And joining me on the line, he's our resident professor of sports and the gambling guru himself. He's Mello Betts. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing terrific. I'm doing great, excellent, all of the above.
Okay. You had like 2 wins last week. No, I'm just kidding. Joking. Oh, let's get that right out of the way. Thursday night game. Obviously, we both took Cincinnati.
Well, yeah. Huh?
I thought that was a no-brainer. And they thrashed the Eagles and Folds. Well, he folded.
Yes, he did.
Did. He folded. Mello, shall we jump right into the news before we get into anything else?
Okay, both feet.
It's time for the news, a roundup of all the biggest headlines.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell spoke Wednesday in Dallas after the December Special League meeting, which was held in large part to discuss issues that later will be raised with the NFL Competition Committee, including the elimination of low blocks altogether and the implementation of mandatory pads. But Goodell mentioned one issue that's sure to draw the attention of all fans, and that's expanding the playoffs. So right now we're at 12 teams. We'll look to move to 14 or 16 teams, Goodell said.
Yeesh.
Mellow. Maybe I should have put this under that's not football. Here's my problem with this. It's the old NHL theory, and it's everybody gets a ribbon.
Yep.
Which makes the regular season and that fight so unimportant.
Yep.
Because, not to talk about hockey too much, which I'm wearing my Detroit Red Wings cap, to kind of protest what's going on with hockey. But in hockey, you see it all the time. It's like the number 1 seeds get in there, play their butts off all year. They get in, they lose. Somebody lower seeded runs the table and wins. Yep. And it's like, what was all that besides for your fans and the people who go to your arena? What was all that regular season stuff for if you're just going to go in the playoffs and lose?
Yeah, that's just kind of a formality, I guess.
So then it doesn't have any kind of emphasis of we need to win every single game. That's why I love the way football is formatted right now. Except for we've argued before about the better record versus the division winner stuff.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on this?
I do not like watering down the product. I think with the way it's set up now, to let 9 and 7 teams in or 8 and 18, that's the very lowest that should be. You let 2 more or 4 more teams in. We're going to have teams with losing records in here. I'm not in for the participation awards thing here. This is too big a stakes for that.
Yeah, and that's what gets me annoyed is the old, everybody wins. This is a win-win-win situation. So then what will you have? You have division sending 3 teams all the time?
You're going to have that. A powerhouse division will send 3 teams. So that, I don't like that. I'm just not for that. And I'm with Troy Aikman on some of the, are we looking to do what's best for the league, or are we just doing stuff to generate revenue? And I think we're leaning towards just generating more revenue.
I would say in the last decade, football on a whole has been just a gigantic money grab.
I can't argue with you. I mean, look at the rule changes and what they're all about with the more offense. Well, that'll mean more fans. We need more scoring for more fans. Do we really? Or do you just need solid fans?
Thank you. Real fans. Yeah. Not water cooler talk. We need real fans. I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Where is he pulling this stuff out of? Out of a hat?
And then eliminating the low blocks. It's like, how many guys came before this group of guys that they have irreparable leg damage? They know when it's going to rain. They're in pain constantly. Yeah. And then now you're just finally going to do something about it.
They keep saying that this is a brotherhood. These guys are all in this together and stuff, so nobody intentionally tries to injure anybody. Well, let that be then. If this is true, then just let that stand as it is then, and guys won't really be doing this stuff to try to injure other people.
Yeah. Oh, I could talk about this all day, but let's move on. Don Shula had the 1972 Miami Dolphins over to his house for dinner Thursday to help celebrate the 40th anniversary of their perfect season.
Golly, guys.
It's going to be a wonderful evening for me to have them walk through the door. The head coach said beforehand, I can check them in, weigh them in, and then have them run gassers and 12-minute runs.
Them boys ain't doing that crap anymore. Get out of here.
And make life miserable for them just so they can remember what I put them through. Oh, my goodness. I love the 72 Dolphins. Love them. What's not to like about them? But this year after year after year, their celebrations, their getting together once everybody loses a game and all that stuff is really starting to annoy me.
Yeah, it's annoying, dude. There's no way around it for me. It is really annoying.
What? I don't know. What do you think they think the rest of the world, how do they think the rest of the world looks at this whole thing?
Oh, I think they think that the rest of the world looks at it as, well, that proves it. They're still the greatest, still the best. Every time that happens, every time somebody finally loses, no matter whether they get to 10, 12 games and they finally lose. And so, yeah, that seals the deal again. We're still the best. That's the way they look at it. And I think that's the way they think everybody else looks at it.
In their shorter season.
Mm-hmm. They never mention that, though.
Nobody ever talks about that. But I don't know. 72, what a great year that was. But goodness, guys, let's give it a breather for a while. Mello, here's one I think that we really need to touch on. During the Thursday edition of The Mothership, I won't say those 4-letter acronym.
Thank you.
First Take, the show First Take on that network not to be named, analyst Rob Parker injected racial issues into the game as he took a bitter swipe at Washington Redskins quarterback Robert Griffin III, criticizing him for being engaged to a white woman and possibly being one of those evil, nasty Republicans. Is he a brother or a cornball brother? Parker said. He's not really one of us. He's kind of black, but he's not really like the guy you want to hang out with. Now, Mello, you and I are both African American with a little mix of some other stuff. But I figured it was fair for us to comment on this story, given that this is always the perception when a younger black man does not come out with jeans sagging to his knees and doesn't have that type of persona. He's always perceived as a sellout or something other than being black. Any thoughts?
I am sorry to say this, but just because you're in the media, you got your hierarchy in the media that they get to speak on behalf of what makes you black? Really? I put that right there with the Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton business. I never elected those guys to speak on my behalf, and I didn't elect Parker to speak on my behalf. This kid is well educated. He's seems to be a good kid to me. I don't understand what the big deal is about if someone black represents themselves in a manner that's, I don't know, I guess you would deem more towards being white because they behave themselves and aren't acting out, so that means you can't be in the brotherhood. I don't get that. I don't get that, and I think people are speaking out of turn when you really don't know somebody. You just go by your perception of them. Have you ever sat down and talked with this guy? You're a reporter. Did you go and talk to this guy or what here?
And just the throwing in the what type of girlfriend he has and stuff. I thought that was
what year are we living in? What does that have to do with anything?
It's very sad, because we're almost going to be in 2013 and it's still the same issues over and over and over again. I look at every individual, no matter what color they are, and I make my own opinion based on them. What do they say to me? How do they treat me? What are they talking about? We just got to get over some of this stupidity.
I don't think that it helps that because I'm probably going to get crucified for this one, but because you're black, you can sit there and say things to me that sound like racial racism and racial overtones and get away with it if you say it against another black person.
Yeah, you're right. And that's something that our culture has to get past.
And it just, I mean, to hear that, when I heard this yesterday, I was like, are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me. We're still talking like that. We're still acting like that. Shameful.
Yeah, it is. Very bad. Adrian Peterson's numbers speak for themselves. 1,600 rushing yards, 1,811 total yards from scrimmage, and 10 TDs. The first two numbers lead the NFL, and he's tied for third in touchdowns. So the Minnesota Vikings star running back knows that even those numbers are not enough to sway MVP voters his way. And he says that he feels like the quarterbacks get a lot of leeway at times. The MVP player award should go to the best player and not just the best quarterback. Mello, what are your thoughts?
I'm right with him, and I think it's all tied back to the rule changes and stuff that have made this a glorious sport to be a quarterback in.
Yeah.
The criteria. What is the criteria? Is anybody settled on what the criteria is for this MVP? Some people think it's the best player on the best team. Now he's saying the best quarterback on the best team and stuff. Does anybody know what the exact criteria for the MVP is so we can all be on the same page when it comes time to vote for this?
Because I remember growing up as a kid, the MVP could go to a player that was not necessarily even on a great team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This
Barry
is the best
Sanders.
player. Yeah.
Detroit Lions. Excuse me. But I'm just like, it's ridiculous that you can't get out of that shadow of the quarterback.
Yeah, and if you're a defensive player, you have no chance, do you?
And like he says, he goes on to say, make it a quarterback-only award then. If that's the way it's going to be judged.
Yeah, don't put it out there that everybody's got a fair shot at this when that's not the true case.
So he wasn't done talking. He was done about that, but he wasn't done talking about himself, because if you'll recall, 28 years ago, Eric Dickerson set an NFL single-season rushing record that still stands to this very day. 2105. That's the magic number. Wow. And Adrian Peterson says he thinks Eric Dickerson should be a little nervous. So he needs to average 168.7 per game. So, Mello, do you think he can do it?
Well, if he can break off a 51-yarder on his first touchies game, that really lights things up a little bit, I'd say.
So
I'm not going to count him out, because if you had told me he was going to have a season like this coming from behind that injury, I would have said, what are you smoking, and put that down. But I'm not going to count him out at this point. I don't see how you could.
So I was curious, what has he been doing lately? And I believe he's around 165 lately.
Okay.
A game, averaging out over the last few games or so. So I am extremely impressed with what he's done, even if he doesn't get that record, which odds would say he can't. But even if he doesn't get that record, man, what an amazing turnaround. What an amazing comeback.
Oh, he's got the comeback player. There's no question about that.
Wait a minute.
How many awards he?
You don't think Peyton Manning's going to supersede him?
Oh, I didn't even think. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
That's right. He's coming back too. But golly, but they know who the quarterback is in Minnesota, so they're not scared of Ponder. Everybody that takes on Minnesota knows you're getting a heavy dose of AP, and he's still getting his yardage. At least he's controlling things. He can spread it around to his different weapons and stuff. AP knows they can't win a game without him.
And just to follow up on that MVP award, the last 5 awards have been to quarterbacks.
Oh, what a shocker.
Yep. So Aaron Rodgers, Brady in 2010, Peyton Manning in 08-09, Brady in 07.
Okay.
Wow. Uphill battle, anyone?
Well, yeah, just a few guys passing it back and forth is all it looks like to me.
Mello, shall we move on to That's Not Football?
Oh, I'm always ready for that.
All right.
That's not football.
Thank you. When Colts wide receiver Reggie Wayne got up Sunday, he had a problem. He couldn't find his car. His car was stolen by an allegedly drunk hotel valet. Gunnar Belcher, a 21-year-old valet at the Westin Inn in Indy, decided to take Wayne's car for a joyride downtown. So he ran into a couple of problems, Mello. He went out in downtown with a stolen car, and then he got drunk and got arrested and charged for driving while intoxicated. Mello,
that is not football.
Hey, where's my car? An old video is making its rounds on YouTube. In the video appears a young, and these are my words, pre-crazy Jim Harbaugh playing the role of Screech's cousin on Saved by the Bell. Oh my goodness, Mello.
I've seen it. It's pretty lame, and that is not football.
1 week after blasting the New York Jets on Twitter, calling them idiots, Braylon Edwards is once again a Jet. And he backpedaled on everything he said. Mello?
Are you kidding? Oh, that's not football. That's back. Oh, my word.
You guys are idiots. Oh, you got me, though. You're smart. Senator Harry Reid, he's a Democrat from Nevada, was addressing the Senate floor this past Thursday when he figured he'd drop some sports wisdom on his fellow senators. He basically compared the Republican Party's current situation to that of the New York Jets' current mess at quarterback. Coach Rex Ryan, he's got a problem. He's got 3 quarterbacks, Sanchez, Tebow, and McElroy. He can't decide who their quarterback is going to be. That's the same problem the Republicans are having.
What?
This is stupid, Mello.
That's politics. That is not football.
And it's stupid. What a terrible analogy.
Very, very bad.
Former Giants running back Tiki Barber was on the Howard Stern show, and he dropped this gem of a quote. If someone literally poops on me, I'll still be nice to them. Mello?
Ugh, that's not football. I don't know what that is.
That is not football. A picture is making its rounds all the way through the internet. And it's a picture that shows Jags QB Chad Henne and his wife posing in striped onesies with teddy bears and stuffed animals, kissing in bed. Mello?
Whoa, that's weird, dude. That's not football.
No wonder they lost that last game.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Young took to Twitter and asked Arizona wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald to help him land a job with the Cardinals. That's begging, Mello, but it's not what?
It's not football.
Can you get me a job? Oh, my goodness. And we're going to end this on this doozy. The West Greenway Bible Church in Glendale, Arizona, put up a sign in response to the notion that the Cardinals fans and players had given up on the 4-9 team following their 58-0 blowout loss to the Seattle Seahawks. The sign read, "No one is beyond God's help, not even the Cardinals." Luke 18:27.
Wow.
Mello?
That is not football.
Yeah,
guys.
because I looked it up. I didn't see anything about the Cardinals in it.
No.
Ridiculous. My goodness. So every week, multiple NFL players say something stupid, and that's why I created the segment, Shut Up.
Shut up!
Thank you. Packers tight end Jermichael Finley apparently hasn't been very impressed with the recent play of Bears' future Hall of Fame linebacker Brian Urlacher. Urlacher is at the end of his career right now. He's playing a little slow out there, Finley said on Wednesday. I don't think they're losing too much if he's out. Putting another guy in there might help them a little. Mello, are you serious with this? Is that I think that is one of the dumbest things I think I've ever heard.
He's consistent. I will say that about Jermichael Finley. Consistently saying something stupid.
And on that note,
Shut up!
oh my goodness. What? I think they'll get better if he's not. That's pretty brilliant.
Just keep your mouth shut and let people assume you're an idiot. Don't open your mouth and let them confirm it.
So now it is time for the rap sheet.
Uh-oh.
Calling all cars, calling all cars. Be advised, we have NFL players on the loose.
Pittsburgh Steelers running back Rashard Mendenhall, the leading rusher for the past 3 seasons, has been suspended 1 game for conduct detrimental to the team. Mendenhall has been inactive for the past 2 games since fumbling twice in 4 carries in Cleveland. He is an unrestricted free agent after this season. Baltimore Ravens rookie cornerback Asa Jackson has been suspended 4 games for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances.
Oh, boy.
The San Francisco 49ers suspended running back Brandon Jacobs on Monday for the final 3 games following a series of posts on social media sites addressing the lack of playing time, including one during last weekend saying, "On this team, rotting away." Like he's on the friggin' chain gang. Like you're not a multimillionaire. You're on the chain gang just slaving away, huh?
It's all based on performance, isn't it? So if you're not out there, I'm here to tell you there's a reason you're not out there, baby.
Remember the glory days. And he even had a picture wearing his old Giants jersey.
Oh, brother.
What is up with these guys that get these man crushes on their old teams or whatever?
Sentimental. Let's play a sentimental journey for this cat then.
Yeah, I might be able to do that. With several ex-Cowboys sitting in the courtroom gallery, a federal judge on Wednesday sentenced former linebacker Eugene Lockhart Jr. to 4.5 years in prison for his admitted role in using fraudulent mortgage papers to swindle home lenders out of millions. Man, what idiots. And Dallas Cowboys lineman Josh Brent, the player charged with intoxication manslaughter in the 1-car accident that killed his teammate Jerry Brown, had a blood alcohol level of more than twice the legal limit.
Wow.
That's what reports are. 0.18.
Wow.
Freaking idiots. All right. Mello, anything before we make our picks against the spread and then we become the idiots?
I was looking at the power rankings, and I have to check on my Lions. They at one time were 9. Now they're like 21.
Oh, my God.
or it might even be worse. They're way down there. But the question was posed. They have lost 3 straight games where they had a 10-point or more advantage.
Yep, can't close.
And can't close. Why is their coach not on the hot seat?
He should definitely be on the hot seat.
This was USA, my USA Sports Weekly saying this. So it's not like, it's a Detroit paper. This is a national paper asking the question on this. But I'm just going to say of their 53-man roster, 29 free agents. 22 are unrestricted. So,
ouch.
Yes, they're going to roll that roster over. And you can clearly see when you get 29 free agents, you've got guys that know they're not going to be there. Why wouldn't you do whatever you wanted to or say whatever you want and all of that business?
Yeah.
I mean, they had the anonymous source about Ndamukong Suh saying that he plays good 90% of the time, but it's the 10%. Well, who's this anonymous source? When they asked or when they said something about it to the defensive coordinator Gunther Cunningham, he said, boy, this anonymous guy, he sure doesn't get around a lot.
He's on every team.
But I'm saying that if it's an anonymous source, you got to assume that it's a free agent, and it's either one that's leaving shortly or somebody that they've already put on the injured reserve.
I think at the end of the day, we already knew this.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Again this week.
Yeah, they just don't finish, man. They don't finish games. They're in every game. I mean, anybody that says that they're not a decent team doesn't know what they're talking about. They're in most games.
Yeah,
I mean,
they can score points.
They're
but
playing
they can't
good
seal
teams.
the deal.
They're playing a lot of good teams, and they're in the game. It's just they can't finish.
Can't finish.
Don't know how to play from being out in front.
Yep.
Sad. Too bad. So sad. Tell their moms to tell their dad. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, let's do what we do best. And just throw stuff at walls and see if it sticks.
It's time to pick 'em. Remember, picks are made for entertainment purposes only.
All righty. Oh my goodness, we're getting down to the wire, Mello. I've got to turn it on. I can't wait any longer. I'm gonna turn my picks up a little bit. Stretch out. Get ready. So we've got the Green Bay Packers. They are going to lay 3 points on the road at Chicago. I think this should be a decent game. There's a lot of that talk inside the division. I don't like that, but I am going to stick my neck out and take Green Bay minus the 3. I just think that they should be able to deliver just a little bit too much firepower for the Bears in the state that the Bears are in right now. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I got to go with Green Bay because I'm sticking to my guns on the same thing. Chicago can't consistently protect their quarterback, and if you can't do that, you can't beat the quote-unquote elite teams.
At Atlanta, the Falcons are going to lay 1.5 to the New York Football Giants. I'm taking the Giants on this one. I don't know which team is going to show up this week, but if it's the Giants, I think I know, then they should be able to handle Atlanta. And this could be one of those ugly, mucky games that the Giants just squeak out at the end. Who are you taking?
Atlanta needs to have a statement game. They have been referred to as the best team that nobody's scared to play. They're at home, and 1.5 was not enough for me to flip the script and take the Giants, so I'm going to take Atlanta to cover at home. This should show you whereabouts they're at here.
Okay. At New Orleans, the Saints are going to lay 3.5 to the visiting Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this is actually going to be a good game, and I'm taking Tampa Bay getting those that hook, the 3.5. And I think they might actually pull this one off. Who you got?
Yeah, the hook's got me on this one. It's a division game. New Orleans, look what happened to them last week, So we just have to admit, they're really just not as good as what we thought they were going to be. So, yeah, I'm with you, and I'm taking the Buccaneers.
At St. Louis, the Rams are going to lay 3 points to the Minnesota Vikings. Man, I would love to take St. Louis, but I cannot take them as a cover team. I'm going to take Minnesota and AP. He's going to go off, just like he does pretty much every week. Who you got?
I've been St. Louis have been very good to me. So I'm going to stick with St. Louis another week.
It wasn't good for Parker. It's not good for you either. Right. Washington, the Redskins are going to lay 1 point on the road at Cleveland. This actually should be an interesting game, whether RG3 plays or not. I think Washington is going to nip this one at the end and win this game by a field goal. Who are you taking?
Yeah, this is my old team and my new team going against each other. I like this. I think it's going to be a good game. But, yeah, Washington wins.
Yep.
They lost 2 Pro Bowlers off their defense, and I said season over. But they just keep finding ways to win, so I'm going to keep sticking with them.
Yeah, because that offense is still effective. When we got to see Kirk Cousins a lot being from the Big Ten area.
Oh, yeah.
And that offense still seems like it's going to be effective. So I wouldn't count them out. At Miami, the Dolphins are going to lay 7 points to the onesie-wearing Chad Henne and company. I'm taking Jacksonville. I cannot get off of this train for some reason. It's a train wreck, but I just can't get off this train. People underestimating them week after week after week. I'm going to take Jacksonville getting the 7 points and hope that this turns into a 300-yard passing game for each quarterback. Who are you taking?
Not so much faith in Jacksonville, but you know my disdain for Miami and them playing at home. I just have no faith that them being at home means that they're some big favorite. I just don't see it. So I think it's a close game. I don't think the long travel will hurt Jacksonville too much. So I'm going to say Jacksonville in the points.
Nice. At Houston, inside the friendly confines of Barbecue Sauce Stadium, the Texans are going to lay 8.5 to the Indianapolis Colts. I'm taking the Colts. This seems like a no-brainer. So Vegas knows something I don't know. This is a trap. But I'm taking the Colts getting 8.5. Who you got?
Oh, this is that they're selling you the old Houston's going to be riled up like a bee's nest. You know, they got embarrassed last week and now they're at home and they're just going to – this is still within your own division. 8.5 points is too much for me. I'm with you. I'm taking the Colts.
At San Diego, the Chargers are going to lay 3 points to Sir Isaac Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. I'm taking the Panthers on the road. Getting that 3 points. You don't scare me, Norv. So who you got?
Yeah, I get Carolina as well. This is should be a pretty good game, I would think. But San Diego is some big favorite. I don't think so.
No. Seattle is going to lay 5.5 points at Buffalo. I am hemming and hawing on this game because we just know the tradition of Seattle trying to come across the country.
Right.
and it being the week after that, the Buffalo fans just need to exercise some patience. I don't know what's going to happen here, man. I'm just going to wing one out there. I'm going to say Buffalo makes this a game, and I'm going to take them. Who you got?
Give me the road favorite. I just cannot take Buffalo, dude. I just can't take them. I'm sorry.
Nor should anyone.
Sorry, Ryan. I can't take you anymore.
And now we know he's not a franchise quarterback, even from the team owner.
Yeah, it's hard when it comes from the team owner.
It's pretty bad. The Detroit Lions, they'll try to figure out a way to lose this one. They're going to lay 6 points on the road at Arizona. I think the Detroit Cubs could beat Arizona at this point. So I think the Lions will win this game. Arizona, just not much. I mean, man, if there were going to be signs of life, I think it should have happened by now.
Yep.
Who you got?
Larry Fitzgerald, 5 catches, 56 yards in his last 3 games.
Oh.
Calvin Johnson, 100-plus yards in each of his last 6 games. To beat Detroit, you got to be able to score, and Arizona can't score. So they can be as mad as they want and all that other blah, blah, blah. I think Detroit's going to light them up. They're overdue for a win, let alone a bloodletting, and who better to give it to than Arizona, a team that offers no resistance.
Pittsburgh, the Steelers are going to lay 1.5 on the road at Dallas. I'm taking the Steelers on the road favorite. Call me crazy and call me a cab. But Mello, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh on the low, slow cover here. They find a way to win. Dallas finds a way to lose. Even though Dallas has been doing well for a while now, they've been stepping up their game a little bit these last few weeks. But it's time for that train wreck to end, isn't it?
Yeah. Everybody, it's audition night in Oakland. You need a job next year? You're going to have to audition. So at Oakland, the Raiders are going to lay 3 to some other guys that'll be auditioning for jobs next year, the Kansas City Chiefs. So this one will be to, kind of get some game film out there, some positive game film out there. I expect this to be a hard-hitting game. I'm going to take Oakland laying the 3. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I'll defer. I had Oakland in this one. But this is just – I can remember when this game was a classic premier showcase game, and now look what it's amounted to. This is the loser bowl, if you ask me.
Kind of embarrassing where they've fallen to.
Yep, we'll take Oakland to cover.
At New England, the Patriots are going to lay 5 points to the visiting San Francisco 49ers. I'm taking San Francisco getting the points. I'm taking a good team getting points. I refuse to give up on that theory that a good team getting points, they should go or stay within the spread. I cannot give up on that. Who are you taking?
Yeah, everybody wants to fall in love with New England all over again, but that was 1 week. That was last week. You got to let it go. This is a new challenge and a new game this week in San Francisco. No matter what their offense, whether they show up or not, the defense is for real. And Brady does not like getting hit. Everybody knows this. San Francisco's going to bring some heat on him. And who's going to block Aldon Smith, all right? So give me San Francisco and the points. I think it's a good play.
Well, if Brady does get hit, well, next year there'll be a new rule to protect him. All right. On Monday night, I mean, the dude has 2 rules already. And then on Monday night at Tennessee, the Titans will lay 2 to the New York Jets. I'm taking the Jets. They've got us right where they want us. This was all a ruse. This was their plan to just win out. I'm going to take the Jets. Who are you taking?
Oh, it's so hard to take the Jets 2 weeks in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a gamble, but I'm going to take them 2 weeks in a row.
They are who you thought they were.
Oh, Denver, Baltimore.
Did I skip one?
Did we pick Denver?
Yeah,
Baltimore?
I think I did skip them. I'm sorry. Denver, because I don't care. Denver's laying 2.5 at Baltimore. Denver's going to win that game by about 13 points. Who are you taking?
Yeah, that's a kind of a no-brainer. I think this is probably one of the stronger plays on the board. I don't care about the travel. All I care about is Baltimore's offense is not close to what I thought it was going to be coming into this season. Denver's is a lot better than I thought it would be, so 2.5 doesn't seem like much. And the defense, who's got a better defense, do you think? I think probably Denver.
I think Denver.
Point.
Denver, because, yeah, they're healthier, and they're gonna win that game. And just what happened with Baltimore, that they made plans to impact that offense, and then what happened?
They're going to this hurry up and no huddle and stuff. And at first, when I first saw it, I thought, all right, that looks pretty good. But a couple of incompletions in there, and you get 3 and outs, and the other team has the ball back, and it just hasn't landed quite right for them. So you might want to go back to the drawing board on what we're trying to accomplish here.
You know, when you look at the DNA of the Ravens, and I hate to belabor on this game, but their DNA is play solid defense, run the ball.
Yep.
And, you know, when you try to deviate from that, you're just not built for that.
Yeah, you're trying to switch to a backstroke in mid-race here, and that's not going to work for you. Stick with the breaststroke. That's what was working for you.
Nice analogy, unlike the earlier analogy from the Democrat from Nevada. Mello, anything else before we get out of here this week?
Just the numbers last week were just pedestrian. At this rate, they're so close that I think they can, like home favorite 6-5-1 last week, they can creep it up and get it to it's at 47. They can creep it up, and if that's not close enough, they can creep it up to the 50% with this would be 3 weeks to go here.
Okay.
So Vegas has got you right where they want you. I can't give you any help with any trends or you're kind of on your own from here on out because things have settled so much. The big spreads with the big 3-0 got them up to 43%. So maybe you could play that cover, but that one doesn't have to make it to 50%. So that's pretty much all I got for you.
Okay. That's some good stuff, Mello.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the NFL Fan Podcast, Mello's NFL Weekly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you tune in every week. We're starting to record on Fridays all the time. So that's awesome. Get the show out a little earlier, give you a little more time to try to catch us before Sunday. So we hope you enjoy that. But you can head to NFLFanPodcast.com or TPENetwork.com. For Mello Betts, I'm Hank Davis. Until next week, we're signing off.
If you have comments or feedback, you can email the guys at tprfans@yahoo.com. That's TPRFANS@yahoo.com, or call the voicemail line at +1 810 309 8445.